Have you ever wondered what the ocean sounds like? You might picture the gentle crash of waves or the serene calls of whales. But the truth is, the ocean is getting louder, and it's not because of nature. It's because of us. Over the past century, the amount of noise in our oceans has increased dramatically, turning vast, quiet spaces into a constant cacophony. This isn't just background noise. It's a serious threat to marine life. So, what exactly is making our ocean so loud? And what are the consequences for the creatures that call it home? Let's dive in and listen to what's really happening beneath the waves. The primary culprits behind this escalating noise pollution are human activities. Think about global trade. Every day, thousands of massive cargo ships crisscross the oceans. Their powerful engines and propellers generating a constant, low-frequency hum that travels for hundreds, even thousands of kilometers. This sound has doubled in intensity every decade for the past 60 years. It's like living next to a highway that never sleeps, but for animals that have evolved over millions of years in a relatively quiet environment. This relentless drone from shipping is now the dominant source of noise across most of the world's oceans, creating a global acoustic smog. It's a sound that simply wasn't there a century ago, and it's fundamentally changing the underwater soundscape. But it's not just ships. Our insatiable demand for energy contributes another layer of noise. The search for oil and gas beneath the seabed involves seismic air guns, which are incredibly loud. These devices release high-pressure air bubbles that create powerful sound waves, some of the loudest man-made sounds in the ocean, second only to explosives. These blasts go off every 10 to 15 seconds for days, weeks, or even months on end. Imagine the cannon firing right next to your ear repeatedly. That's the reality for marine life in these areas. Then there's the construction and operation of offshore oil rigs and wind farms. The pile driving used to build these structures sends shockwaves through the water, and once operational, they add their own persistent mechanical hum to the environment. Then we have sonar. Military sonar systems used to detect submarines and other objects emit intense mid-frequency sound pulses. These pulses are designed to travel long distances and are extremely powerful. While they might be used intermittently, their impact can be immediate and devastating. Commercial sonar, used for fish finding and seabed mapping, also adds to the sonic clutter. It's a complex and overlapping web of sound, coming from all directions and from countless sources. From the roar of a supertanker to the ping of a sonar system, the ocean is now filled with an industrial orchestra that never stops playing, drowning out the natural sounds that marine life depends on. For many marine animals, sound is everything. It's their primary sense for navigating, finding food, avoiding predators, and communicating. Whales and dolphins, for example, are masters of sound. They use echolocation, a biological sonar, to see their world. By emitting clicks and listening for the echoes, they can map out their surroundings and hunt for prey in total darkness. They also use complex songs and calls to communicate with each other over vast distances, coordinating group activities, finding mates, and maintaining social bonds. But our noise pollution acts like a dense fog, masking these vital signals. This acoustic masking forces them to shout to be heard, which is energetically costly and reduces the range over which they can communicate. The constant barrage of noise is causing widespread disruption. Whales are changing their vocalization patterns, increasing the volume, pitch, or frequency of their calls to cut through the din. Some studies have shown that in noisy environments, mother dolphins have to stay much closer to their calves to communicate, making it harder to forage for food. This isn't just an inconvenience. It can be a matter of life and death. If an animal can't hear a predator approaching, or if a calf gets separated from its mother because its calls are drowned out, the consequences are dire. The stress from living in a perpetually noisy environment is also a major concern. Just like in humans, chronic noise exposure can lead to increased stress hormones, which can weaken immune systems and affect reproduction. The behavioral changes we're seeing are alarming. Some species are actively avoiding noisy areas, abandoning critical feeding or breeding grounds they've used for generations. This displacement can force them into less suitable habitats with fewer resources or more predators. It's not just the large mammals that are suffering. The problem extends deep into the marine food web. Even the smallest creatures are affected by sound. Fish, for example, use sound to find mates, defend territories, and detect predators. Studies have shown that boat noise can distract fish, making them less able to hunt effectively or respond to threats. This has a ripple effect up the food chain. If prey fish are struggling, the larger fish, birds, and mammals that depend on them will also suffer. Even fish eggs and larvae can be harmed. The vibrations from loud noises can damage their delicate sensory cells or even kill them outright, impacting the next generation before it even has a chance. And what about the foundation of many ocean ecosystems, like coral reefs? We often think of reefs as visual wonders, but they are also vibrant acoustic environments. The crackling, popping, and snapping sounds of a healthy reef are produced by the myriad of creatures living there, like snapping shrimp. This natural soundscape is a crucial cue for larval fish and other invertebrates, guiding them to settle on a healthy reef after drifting in the open ocean. However, the low-frequency drone of ship traffic can mask these natural sounds, making it difficult for the young to find their way home. A quiet, degraded reef sounds different from a healthy one, and a noisy ocean can make even a healthy reef sound uninviting, hindering its ability to recover and replenish itself. The most acute and dramatic impacts of noise pollution are often linked to high intensity, sounds like military sonar and seismic airgun surveys. There is a strong correlation between mid-frequency military sonar exercises and mass stranding events of certain whale species, particularly beaked whales. These deep-diving animals are incredibly sensitive to this type of sound. The sonar pulses are believed to cause them to panic and surface too quickly, leading to a condition similar to decompression sickness, or the bends, in human divers. The sound can also cause physical injury to their hearing structures. The evidence is stark. Dead whales wash ashore with tissue damage consistent with acoustic trauma shortly after sonar drills have taken place in the area. Meanwhile, the deep-sea drilling for oil and gas adds a constant, grinding rumble that can dominate the soundscape for years. This isn't a short-term disturbance. It is a chronic source of noise in some of the most remote and least understood ecosystems on the planet. For the unique creatures that inhabit the deep sea, which is naturally a very quiet environment, this industrial noise is a completely alien and stressful intrusion. We are only just beginning to understand the long-term effects of this constant noise on deep-sea ecosystems, but it's clear that we are conducting a massive, uncontrolled experiment on a global scale. The good news is that the scientific community is taking this threat seriously. Researchers are deploying networks of underwater microphones, called hydrophones, all around the world to create what they call soundscapes. By listening to the ocean continuously, they can monitor the levels of man-made noise, track the presence and behavior of marine animals through their vocalizations, and identify areas that are particularly noisy or, conversely, still relatively quiet. This data is crucial for understanding the scale of the problem and for developing effective solutions. It allows us to map out the noisiest shipping lanes, identify areas of high biological importance that need protection, and measure the effectiveness of any noise reduction strategies we implement. Armed with this growing body of research, we are starting to develop real solutions. Unlike many other forms of pollution, ocean noise is something we can stop relatively quickly. If you turn off the source, the noise is gone. One of the most promising areas is the development of quieter ship technologies. Simple changes in ship design, particularly to propellers, can significantly reduce the amount of noise they generate. Some ports are now offering incentives for quieter ships, creating a market-driven push for innovation. Another key strategy is to simply slow down. Reducing the ship's speed by even a few knots can dramatically decrease its noise output. This has the added benefit of reducing fuel consumption and the risk of fatal collisions with whales. Furthermore, we can manage where and when we make noise. We can establish protected marine areas that are not just protected from fishing, but also from high levels of noise. These quiet zones would act as acoustic sanctuaries for marine life. We can also implement seasonal or temporary restrictions on noisy activities, like seismic surveys, to avoid disturbing animals during critical periods like breeding or migration seasons. For activities like offshore construction, using alternative technologies to pile driving, such as bubble curtains that absorb sound, can make a huge difference. The challenge is not a lack of solutions. It's a lack of awareness and the political will to implement them. The ocean is not the silent world it once was. For the countless creatures that depend on sound to survive, it has become a noisy, confusing, and stressful place. We have filled their world with the roar of our engines, the blast of our surveys, and the pings of our sonar. We have, in effect, been shouting over them, and they are paying the price. But it's not too late. By understanding the problem, developing quieter technologies, and making smarter choices about how we operate in the ocean, we can begin to turn down the volume. We can give the ocean's inhabitants the peace and quiet they need to thrive. The symphony of the sea is one of the planet's greatest natural wonders. It's our responsibility to ensure it isn't drowned out forever. The sound of the ocean is changing. We've explored how human activity is turning up the volume, but what other hidden stories are waiting beneath the surface? What underwater secrets do you think we should expose next? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you found this journey into the ocean soundscape interesting, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into our amazing planet.